Bearing tales. What else?
Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
So don't hate your brother in your heart. But does it happen? Yes, it does. And the actions will show that you hate this guy. Go ahead.
And not suffer sin upon him. 18.
18. Skip down to 18 and read that, man. I mean, read 18. What does it say?
Thou shalt not avenge nor bear grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
So don't be holding no grudges. You're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself, just like the books say. Skip down to 26 and read it.
Ye shall not eat anything with the blood.
Don't eat no blood. What else?
Neither shall ye use enchantments nor observe time.
Don't be caught up in all this astrology and witchcraft. What else?
Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shall ye mar the corners of thy beard. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord.
Okay, so don't be running around here bald-headed and clean-shaven. And don't be getting no tattoos. And I know the Israel of God teaches something different when it comes to this verse right here, because I've heard it several times on Q&A where they give people a pass on tattoos as long as it ain't for the dead. But the books say, and they did a whole little spiel about the word nor, what nor means. And I'm like, look, if this person get a whole bunch of tattoos for the dead people, and I get myself decorated with some flowers and snakes and rats and cats or whatever, what makes me different from them? Serving of God is supposed to stand out from amongst the wickedness. So you ain't supposed to have a whole bunch of tattoos. You ain't supposed to get nothing. 0 tattoos. You ain't supposed to print no marks on your body. So, what else, man? I ain't going to get into that, but I'm telling you.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom.
And don't have your daughter dressing like no hoochie, in other words. Leave the hoochie wear for the hoochie mamas. Modest apparel, right? What else, man?
And the land become full of wickedness.
Full of wickedness.
Ye shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary.
Keep the Sabbath and do what to the sanctuary? Reverence it. Keep it clean, keep it kept up, swept up, nice and neat. Because this is the place that we had a holy convocation. The Lord has blessed us with it. We started off at the hotel. We was under the mercy of the hotel rules. Now we got our own spot. Let's keep it clean. We finished that.
I am the Lord.
That's right. Proverbs 2. But I know they're going to clown. They always clown when I'm not out there, man. I get an evil report every time. Last time I was in Oakland. And it was my turn to clean the next day. I went up there Sunday. Man, the backyard looked like a hurricane came through. There's potato chip bags, water bottles everywhere. I'm like, what happened? All these grown folks here. Because kids, you know, kids don't like garbage cans. They just throw everything on the ground. And then they out there playing basketball too. I'm like, what's wrong with y'all, man? So hopefully they'll get the message. Because I was mad. Proverbs 2 and 10, read it.
When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee.
So when wisdom gets where? Right here in the mind. Read that again.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
When wisdom entered into thy heart.
When wisdom get into your mind.
And knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul.
And knowledge is pleasant to your body. Go ahead.
Discretion shall preserve thee. Understanding shall keep thee.
You're going to have discretion and understanding. You're going to be able to assess a situation like, nah, I don't need to be over there. Or you may interject and try to cool it down. Talk some sense into somebody. But you're going to have that discretion. You ain't going to be quick to run into stuff like you used to. Because you got that wisdom and knowledge. What else?
Verse 12. To deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things.
So you're going to deliver, your discretion is going to tell you, deliver you from the way of the evil man. It's like when you driving, right? They tell you when you go to driving school, if somebody out there driving crazy, keep them in front of you. Don't try to pass them up, because just let them stay in front of you and do all that craziness. Same way when you got this understanding, if you see some craziness going on, assess the situation, like, okay, this ain't the time for me. Let me move on. Go ahead.
13. Who leave the path of uprightness to walk in the way of darkness, who rejoice to do evil and delight in the forwardness of wickedness, whose ways are crooked and thy forward in their paths, to deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger which flattereth with her words.
So even brothers, when it comes to them sisters out there, you going to know who's who and who ain't. Who's down with the Lord and who ain't. Because everybody can talk a good game. But it's all about action. Action, like verb. We finished that? 17, read that.
Which forsaketh the guide of her youth, and forgot of the covenant of her God.
Now that's a woman. The flattering with the woman with the strange woman with the flattering words. She forsook the God of her youth and forgot the covenant of her God. Ain't that something? Woman that went crazy. Out there just buck wild. Mark, Jeremiah, Proverbs 11. Flip over to Proverbs 11. And verse 13. Get back to this talebearer, man. What does it say?
A talebearer revealeth secrets, but he that is of a faithful spirit concealeth the matter.
So a talebearer is going to tell all your business. But the one that's of a faithful matter, he won't say nothing. That person you can trust. You can say to them something in confidence, and they won't tell nobody. It's hard to find a person like that. You want to tell my mama something? That's the wrong person to tell. Because the first thing, when you tell somebody, if the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, don't say nothing to nobody, that's the wrong person to be telling. Because they're going to tell everything. 20 and 19, read it.
He that goeth about as a talebearer revealeth secrets. Therefore meddle not with him that flattereth with his lips.
So the ones that's a talebearer reveal his secrets, therefore don't meddle with them. Don't tell them nothing. Jeremiah 17. I mean, man, don't say nothing to them. They ask you how you doing. Why you ask me that? I just want to know why. So you can go tell somebody how I'm doing? 17 and 19, what does it say?
Thus said the Lord unto me, go and stand at the gate of the children of the people, whereby the kings of Judah come in, and by the which they go out, and in the gates of Jerusalem. So
the Lord told Jeremiah, go stand at the gate where the people are coming in and out. Go ahead.
And say unto them.
And say this to them. Go ahead.
Hear ye the words of the Lord, ye kings of Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem that enter in by these gates. Thus saith the Lord, take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it by the gates of Jerusalem.
So take heed to yourself and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, and don't bring it into the gates. Go ahead.
Neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day, neither do you any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath day, as I commanded your fathers.
And don't carry no burdens out your house on the Sabbath, and don't do any work. Because remember, this is the Lord's Sabbath, and it's holy to him. So all that physical burdens, keep them at home. And then don't bring none of that spiritual foolishness out your house too on the Sabbath. Because it happens. Sometimes we forget whose day this is. And we get caught up in our own foolishness, and then we bring it to class. What else?
23. But they obeyed not, neither inclined their ear.
Of course not. Ain't nobody going to listen to that. Go ahead.
But made their necks stiff, that they might not hear nor receive instruction. And it shall come to pass, if ye diligently hearken unto me, saith the Lord, to bring in no burden through the gates of the city on the Sabbath day, but hallow the Sabbath day, to do no work therein, then shall they enter into the gates of this city, kings and princes, sitting upon the throne of David, riding the chariots and on horses, they and their princes, the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and this city shall remain forever.
So if you hallow the Sabbath, the Lord say, look, kings going to come through, princes sitting on thrones of David riding chariots, horses, and this city shall be inhabited and remain forever. All predicated on if you hallow the Sabbath day. But we just read in the verse before that they wasn't trying to hear it. They're going to do their own thing on the Sabbath day instead of the Lord's thing. Now let's go to Mark 1 to show you that it can happen. I remember we was at the hotel before we got the spot in California. We was at a hotel for like 7 years. And there was 2 instances there where 2 sisters was fighting. On the Sabbath day now. And then one sister, this is another incident, during the lesson. One of the sisters got up in another sister's face and like, look, let's go outside and handle it. And the other sister was pregnant. This is on the Sabbath. So nothing surprises me when it comes to Israel. Nothing. And you don't want to get in between 2 women that's fighting. That's a no-no. And the brother found out quick. Don't try to break no women up fighting. Leave them alone. 1 and 21, read it, man.
And they went out into Capernaum, and straightway on the Sabbath day he entered into the synagogue and taught.
So here's Jesus, right? In the synagogue on the Sabbath day and doing some teaching. What happened?
And they were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one that had authority, and not as the scribes. And there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out.
And there was a man in the synagogue on the Sabbath day while Jesus was teaching. He had an unclean spirit. Why is he there? He's keeping the Sabbath day, right? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. But he got an unclean spirit on him. And what did he say to Jesus?
Saying, let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou Jesus of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee who thou art, the Holy One of God. And Jesus rebuked him, saying, hold thy peace, and come out of him. And when the unclean spirit had torn him, and cried with a loud voice, he came out of him.
So he told the evil spirit to shut up and come out the man. But he was there, a man with an unclean spirit on the Sabbath day. So you know he wasn't in his right mind. He wasn't coming there to get no teaching. He came there to mess up everything. And that's what happens. It's called 6-day carryover. And you bring it in on the Sabbath. We had this one couple. I was like, look, every time y'all here together, there's problems. So let's do this. Every other Sabbath, you show up. Next Sabbath, she show up. And it was peace. But then we eased the restrictions and had them both back, and all hell went loose again. But she still come, he don't. Because he took it to a whole new level. That's why he had to go. But it happens on the Sabbath. Proverbs 18. And it shouldn't though, man. That's the thing. It shouldn't happen if we all on the same page. Proverbs 18 and verse 19. Proverbs 18 and verse 19, what that say?
A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city, and their contentions are like the bars of a castle.
So a brother offended, how would you offend your brother? And once you offend him, it's hard to get him back. I mean hard, especially if you heard somebody is talking about you and you find out it was one of your best friends, that would hurt you more than anything else. And you can't get them back after that. They are X'd off. They are wiped off the planet. They never existed in your mind, according to you, because of what they did. And it's hard to get them back. Verse 22, what does it say?
Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord.
So you find a wife, the book say that's a good thing, man, and you get favor from the Lord. What else? 24.
A man that hath friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother.
So if you want to have some friends, you got to show yourself friendly. And that's the only way you're going to get them. Be friendly. Coming up here with a frown on your face all the time, nobody want to talk to you. Who wants to be around somebody that's always got a scowl on their face? Matthew 10, man. Look at that person from a distance. Like, man, what's wrong with that dude, man? He don't never smile. Always mad. You ain't gonna get no friends that way. Matthew 10 and verse 12. 10 and 12, read it.
And when ye come into a house, salute it.
And when you come into a house, you speak to people, man. Salute the house. Make your rounds, you know. Right? That's what look, when I was little, I'm telling you, whoever house we would go to, Pops was like, look, make sure you speak to everybody. Kids don't do that nowadays. They don't care about it now. They walk right past you. I got to check some of them kids at the class. Man, I'm like, you don't see me standing here? Acknowledge me. But go ahead, man. Salute the house. Go ahead.
13. And if the house be worthy, let your peace come upon it. But if it be not worthy, let your peace return to you.
Okay, let's go to, well, man, Matthew 5. Back up. That's why I go to my functions, some functions with my wife and her family, man, you know. I make my rounds, man. I know they don't like me, but I still go up and talk to them. I greet them. How you doing? Some of them don't like me. But anyway, 5 and 46, I think it is, right? Yeah, read that, man.
For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same?
So you got to greet people, man. Because if you love them that love you, you ain't got no reward. I think it's just California because nobody speaks to anybody in California, dude. They go out of their way not to speak to you. You can walk right past. If you make eye contact with me, I'm talking to you. And then if you don't look at me, I'm going to make sure, especially if it's Israel, you know. But you can walk past somebody, man, they'll look straight ahead like they don't even see you. Or they'll be down on their phone like this. See you coming from a distance. But then when they get time to get past, all of a sudden they doing something where they can't speak to you. What is that? They do that out here, man? Not as bad. But that's crazy. You're going to walk right past. I don't care if you know them or not. Speak to them. Say something. And then they give you the cold shoulder. They won't even say nothing to you. That really. But anyway, let's move on, man. 47, read that.
And if ye salute your brethren only, what do you more than others? Do not even the publicans so?
So greet people, man. Greet them. See them on the street, talk to them. What's up, man? What's up, lady? I don't know. Romans 16. I know I do construction. Ain't many of us out there. But the ones that's out there, I make sure what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Other than that, you know, we stand out anyway. 16:1, what does it say?
I command unto you Phoebe, our sister, which is a servant of the church which is in Caesarea.
So greet Phoebe, man. Phoebe, good people. Verse 3.
Greet Priscilla and Aquila, my helpers in Christ Jesus.
So greet them too. Verse 5.
Likewise, greet the church that is in their house. Salute my well-beloved Epaenetus, who is the first fruits of Achaia unto Christ.
So greet the church because they was having convocation in their house. So greet them. What else?
Greet Mary, who bestowed much labor on us.
So Mary put a lot of work in the church, man. Greet her too. What else?
Salute Adronchius and Juna, my kinsmen and my fellow prisoners, who are of note among the apostles, who also were in Christ before me.
So salute Andronicus and Junior, my kinsmen. We got locked up, but they was in the word before I was. Salute them. Go ahead.
Greet Amplias, my beloved in the Lord. Salute Urbain, our helper in Christ, and Stachys, my beloved. Salute Apelles, approved in Christ. Salute them which are of Artabulus, a household.
So greet the people, man. That's why anybody that comes in on the new, they should be overwhelmed with greetings from everybody in here. Overwhelmed. Shake their hand, their brother, hug them, whatever you do. Greet them. Much love should be in the class. Skip down to verse 16, man. Read that.
Salute one another with a holy kiss. The churches of Christ salute you.
Okay, saluting one another with a holy kiss. Now, I don't do no kissing. I'll kiss my wife, that's it. But I've seen brothers do selective holy kissing. If you're going to kiss the sisters, kiss them all. Don't just have your favorite ones you like to kiss. Or the ones you want to go up to and give them that good extra hug. I've seen it. But what? Go ahead, 17.
Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause division and offenses contrary to the doctrine which ye have learned, and avoid them.
So don't salute these guys. The book say avoid them, which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which you have learned. Avoid them. 1 Timothy 3. So there's a time and a place for everything, right? There's a time to speak and a time to be quiet. First Timothy 3. And verse 1, read it.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desireth a good work.
Okay, so we don't have no titles up in here. We just got brothers that's reading, brothers that's teaching. We got brothers doing the audio and the video. And then we got the regular old brothers too. But if you want to be a bishop, that's good work. So you got to set the example. You got to have the new mind with the new thoughts and the actions to go with it. Go ahead.
A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife.
So the bishop must be blameless, the husband of one wife. Don't tell Big Papa that. Because the bishop of Rome said you can't have no wife. But then that's another lesson. So he must be blameless. Husband of one wife, go ahead.
Vigilant.
Vigilant.
Sober.
Sober.
Of good behavior.
Good behavior. What else?
Given to hospitality. Apt to teach.
Given to hospitality. Apt to teach. He's got to be hospitable. Is it hospitable? Hospitable. Be ready and willing to teach. Pretty much got to bear the burden of the sanctuary. Go ahead.
Not given to wine.
Can't be no alcoholic, no wine bibber. Go ahead.
No striker. Not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous. One that ruleth well of his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity. For if a man know not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of God?
So if a man wants to be a leader in the church, he got to make sure his house is in order. Because if your house ain't in order, guess what? What you think the church going to be like, and you the leader. There was a guy down in Atlanta. He was the head of the class down there. This is at the Israel of God. But all his outside stuff was coming into the class. So they had to fly down there and remove him. And when Bowie removes you, you out. Wasn't too much YouTube back then. Because most of the cats that get removed, they be on YouTube preaching. But this dude down in Atlanta, he's gone. Because as the leader, he didn't have his house in order, so it spilled over. And Bowie got wind of it. And they had to formally go down there and remove him. Go ahead.
6. Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride he fall into the condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without, lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil.
So not only is he got to have a good report of them on the outside. Because you can fake it here. But if you're out there acting up, it's going to spill over. So if you're doing good here, it's going to reflect out there. And even your coworkers going to talk about you in a good way. Because you're trying to get them to come to class, right? And when they show up, all they can do is say, yeah, man, that brother's a good brother, man. You know, yada, yada, yada. Whatever. Go ahead, man.
8. Likewise, must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy lucre.
So we ain't got no deacons up in here. But I guess we can say these are the readers, huh? I don't know. The other brothers that ain't bishops, put it that way. That's in a leadership position in the class. They got to be what? Not double-tongued, not given to wine, not greedy, a filthy lucre. Go ahead.
Holding the mystery of the faith in pure conscience. And let these also first be proved. Then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless.
So they got to have you just can't come up here and say, I want to be this, this, and that. You got to prove yourself first. We got to check you out. You get in that water if you're a brother, I'm putting you on the reading list. Now, if you can't read, I understand. Or you could probably read, but your fluentry ain't. Then I can understand that. We got something else for you to do. But you gonna do something. What else?
11. Even so must their wives be grave, not slanderers, sober, faithful in all things.
So if the deacon is married, their wife got to be on point too. Sober, not slanderers. What else?
12. Let the deacons be the husband of one wife, ruling their children and their own house as well.
So if the deacon got a wife and some kids, hey, he got to keep his house in order too. Go ahead.
For they that have used the office of a deacon well purchase to themselves a good degree and great boldness in the faith of which is in Christ Jesus. These things write I unto thee, hoping to come unto thee shortly.
So Paul is writing to Timothy, letting him know this is how the order of things are going to be. This is how the bishop's supposed to conduct himself. This is how the deacon's supposed to conduct himself. If they married, their wives supposed to conduct themselves accordingly as well. And it all comes with the right mindset. What else?
15. But if I tarry long, that thou mayest know how thou oughtest to behave thyself in the house of God.
But if it take me a little longer to get there, I'm writing you so you can know how you're supposed to behave yourself in the house of God. Those are some good guidelines. Go ahead, keep reading.
Which is the church of the living God, the pillar and ground of truth.
Okay, let's go to 1 Peter 3. So Paul is giving Timothy some good instruction on the leaders how to behave themselves. And like I said, it all comes with the right mind. Because if your mind ain't right, it's going to show in your actions. Guaranteed. First Peter chapter 3, and pick it up at verse 1. That's what I said. Yeah. First Peter 3 and verse 1. Look at this right here. What that say, man?
Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they may also be without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
Okay, so here's a wife that's in the truth, and her husband, he don't want to obey. So quite naturally, her behavior, because remember, she got the new mind, and her actions are going to win him over. Because it say what? Also, without the word, be won by what? Her conversation. What else?
While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair and wearing of gold, or of putting on of apparel.
So don't let it be all about this, sister. You can paint your face all you want and wear the nice clothes. Men are visual, they're going to go for that right away. But then once you open your mouth, I don't care how good you look. If the conversation is foul, you might as well be ugly. Go ahead.
But let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price.
So what's in the sight of God of great price? A woman that has a meek and a quiet spirit, man. Ain't that something? What else?
For after this manner in the old times, the holy women also, who trusted in God, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as you do well, and are not afraid with any amazement.
So the holy women that trusted in God were in subjection to their own husbands. They knew their righteous role within the marriage. Nobody got out of pocket. What about the husband? Go ahead, verse 7.
Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge.
So you got to dwell with your wife according to what? Knowledge. That's what David did to Michal, didn't you? She despised him because she saw him out there dancing and leaping before the Lord. But in her mind, she was like, he dancing and getting naked in front of all them women. So she couldn't wait for him to get home so she could give him a piece of her mind. And she did. But what did David do? He's like, hey, baby, I was dancing for the Lord, whom he chose me over your daddy. That was enough to get it right here. But go ahead, man. Dwell with them according to knowledge what?
Giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel.
Giving honor to her as the weaker vessel. Don't treat her like a weaker vessel. Give honor to her because she is the weaker vessel. Keep that in mind. Go ahead.
And as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered.
So be careful how you treat your spouse. Because you can pray all you want. If you're treating your wife dirty, guess what? Your prayer's falling on deaf ears. You ain't gonna get the answer you want. But go ahead.
Verse 8. Finally, be ye all of one mind.
So finally be all of what? One mind. One mind. You got to be on the same page. You have to know your role, and she understands her role as well. And everything's cool, right? Be one mind. What else?
Having compassion one of another.
And have compassion, man. Compassion. What else?
Love as brethren. Be pitiful. Be courteous.
So you got to love as brethren. Be hospitable. Be pitiful. And be courteous. Go ahead.
Not rendering evil for evil.
No evil for evil. No tit for tat. None of that stuff. Go ahead.
Or railing for railing. But contrariwise, blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing.
So if you doing tit for tat, you ain't getting no blessing. Go ahead.
For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil, and his lips that they speak no guile.
So don't be talking crazy to one another. That's a no-no. What else?
Let him eschew evil and do good. Let him seek peace and ensue it. For the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are upon their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil.
So the eyes of the Lord over the righteous, and he hear their prayer. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil. So if you get railing for railing and evil for evil, the Lord ain't hearing your prayer. 13.
And who is he that will harm you, if ye be followers of that which is good?
Ephesians 5, man. Let's read that. Speaking of marriage. We had this one guy, man, he got in the water. I don't know what happened to him. Because he died of a fentanyl overdose. What happened? I thought you got baptized, brother. You must have came up with the same old mind. Coming in drunk on the Sabbath day. I don't know, man. Israel's something else. Had 5 kids too, man. But anyway. 5 and 1, what did it say? Did I say 1? 21, I'm sorry, man. 21, what that say?
Submit yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church.
And this is righteous submission, man. Some cats take this to a whole new level. That's your husband, you're supposed to submit to him. That's what the books say. But it ain't like you kissing his feet all the time and getting his slippers. What my slippers, woman? Not that submission. She would want to be able to, she want to get your slippers, you know? What else, man?
Top of 23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body.
Okay, so this marriage between you and the spouse is being equated to Jesus being the head of the church. Go ahead.
24. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything.
So the church got to answer to Jesus. Therefore, the wife has to answer to the husband because he is her head. What else?
Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church.
So husbands got to love their wife just like Christ loved the church. Go ahead.
And gave himself for it.
And Christ died for his church. So that's the love you're supposed to have for your spouse, your wife. Husband, supposed to be willing to take the bullet. That's what the book say, don't it? I mean, come on, man. We reading. Ain't none of this railing for railing. It's love. Go ahead. Read some more, man.
26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having spot or wrinkle or anything, but that it should be holy and without blemish.
Holy without blemish. That's how the wife's supposed to be. Go ahead.
So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself.
So you got to love your wife like your own body. Because if you love your wife, you love yourself. Remember that. Because if you hate your wife, then you hate yourself too. And if you hate your wife, you're going to treat her like you hate her. What else, man?
29. For no man ever hated his own flesh, but nourished and cherished it, even as the Lord the church. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particularly so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband.
Now, what's wrong with this, man? Nothing wrong with this, but you got to have the right mindset. And then the actions will show. Actions will follow. Let everyone in particular love his wife, even as himself. So if you want to beat your wife, beat yourself first. Because she's a part of you. And then the wife give reverence to her husband. What about the kids, man? Beat them kids too. 6 and 1, what it say?
Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth.
So children, obey your parents, for this is right. It's right. Because it's beneficial for you. Because if you don't obey your parents, guess what? You might get your teeth knocked out, right? Who knows? And even if you grown, you still have to show obedience to your parents. What else, man?
4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord.
So you're supposed to raise the kids, bring them up in nurture and admonition of the Lord. The book say, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he gets old, he will not depart from it. The nurture and admonition of the Lord. Verse 5, what else?
Servants, be obedient to them that are your masters according to the flesh, with fear and trembling, in singleness of heart, as unto Christ.
So if you got a job, guess what? If your boss tell you to do something, do it. Don't be taking breaks all the time. You get your job, you do it. I've been doing construction a long time, and the goal for me when I get to the job is to do as less as possible. And I do that. But I still get the job done. What else, man?
6. Not with eye service as men pleasers, but as servants of Christ, doing the will of God from the heart, with good will doing service as to the Lord and not to men.
So you're doing this on your job, you're doing it for the Lord because he blessed you with the job. So don't mess it up by talking crazy about your boss and doing things your way. Because when you do that, the Lord will take that job from you and you'll be broke. What else, man?
Knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall he receive of the Lord, whether he be bond or free. And ye masters, do the same thing unto them, forbearing threatenings, knowing that your master also is in heaven, neither is there respect of person with him.
So if you go on your own business and you got some people working under you, treat them with respect. Because the book says, masters, do the same things unto them, forbearing what? Threatening. Yeah, you hired this individual. You can't be threatening them like, I'll get rid of you right now. That ain't how it works, especially if you're a servant of God and you in this position. So servant of God, servants of God that are servants out there on a particular job, hey, do your job because it's for the Lord. He gave you the position. Servants of God that are on their own business, have people working under them, treat them with respect. We finished that? Let's read Ephesians, 1 Peter 4. 1 Peter 4. So you see this servant of God is 24/7. Not only here, but out there on the job too, right? That's what we read. So this Bible is airtight, man. It tells you how to conduct yourself even on your job. 1 Peter 4 and verse 1, read it.
For as much then as Christ has suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourself likewise with the same mind. For he has suffered in the flesh. For he that has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin.
So we got to have that same mind like Christ had, right? The mind of Christ. Get that mind in you and act like it's in you. What else?
That he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of God.
So if you got the right mind, you ain't going to be living the rest of your time to the lust of the flesh, but you're going to be doing the will of God. That's where the new mind, the new thoughts, and the new actions come in. Go ahead.
For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries.
So that was the past life, right? That was that old person. You walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. Now you don't do that stuff no more. And what your buddy's doing? Go ahead, verse 4.
Wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you.
So now they think you crazy. And now they talking evil about you because you don't do that stuff no more. Now you doing good. How is something wrong with somebody that's doing good? But that's how the world is. This world is messed up. Bad. And they messing up the kids. It's gotten to a point, man's head is so messed up, he don't know what a woman is no more. Ask somebody what a woman is. Ask a woman what a woman is. I know who a woman is. My mama, she's a woman. It ain't my daddy, is it? But that's the world, man. Messed up. And something wrong with me. What else?
Verse 5. What's that? Gotcha. Verse 7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things that are fervent charity among yourselves, for charity shall cover the multitude of sins.
So the end of all things is at hand, so you got to be sober and watch and keep praying. And keep praying. Yeah, you missed verse 5.
See?
Tell them to stay out the lesson. Read verse 5, man. Who ain't got 5 in the lesson? All right. You're right, man. Verse 7 and 9. That's good. Verse 9, what that say?
Use hospitality one to another without grudging.
So you